Welcome back to another episode of the Carter Cast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. On today's show, we had to do an emergency podcast. Matt Rhule has been fired by our sweet, sweet Carolina Panthers. It's Connor and I on the pod today. We talk about what direction the Carolina Panthers need to go in now, who should be the next head coach for the Panthers, and what to expect the rest of the season. Spoiler alert, tank season, please. And Matt Rhule, 11-27 in his time at Carolina, $40 million buyout that some college team will probably pay it out, and he'll probably be a good college coach. Who knows? But make sure to check our NBA win totals podcast coming out this week as well. It'll be Eastern and Western Conference win totals. So it'll be part 1, part 2, Eastern and Western Conference win totals. We go over under every single NBA team and give our MVP picks, finals picks, and more. Make sure to check that out. And then Football Friday, our 4-man football group coming out this Friday. Once again, we're going to go back to back to back. 3-peat on the way for the NFL parlay. And we'll win the college football parlay. Don't worry about that. We'll win our first college football one. We'll win it. It's all right. We had a couple of mishaps on that one. That's okay. We will win the NFL parlay going back to back to back. Going for the 3-peat, the last dance. Jordan and the Bulls in 98 coming this Friday on the NFL Football Pod. Make sure to listen. And I hope you guys enjoy today's emergency podcast. Matt Rhule getting fired by the Carolina Panthers. All right. Emergency podcast. We had to come on. We were going to wait. We have some NBA pods we were going to post. More important matters have come up. Matt Rhule of the Carolina Panthers has been fired as of this morning. Tepper, they already did their press conferences and everything. It's all over. The Matt Rhule reign has come to an end in Carolina. He finishes 11-27, gets fired in week 5? Week 5?
Yeah. Yep. After week 5.
And it felt like he had plenty of time. It felt like they gave him an adequate amount of time. A lot of coaches only get a year, but I'll let you start out.
Yeah, I think based on what you just said, they gave him adequate time because, like you said, a lot of coaches only get a year. And the thing is, they gave him time, and all they needed to see was improvement. And it just wasn't there. It was the same song, different verse every year and every week, it feels like, honestly. You can say injuries. You can say not finding a cornerstone quarterback, whatever you want to say. They gave him time to at least show improvement. I don't think they're going to give him the Jay-Z 7-year plan like, he delusionally said at the podium. But they gave him time to improve, and it just didn't happen. Started this year 1-4. Baker's not been what everybody thought he would be, but it's not entirely on him. Like, eventually you got to look at the coach, and obviously Phil Snow got fired as well, defensive coordinator, and the defense hasn't even been bad. So I don't know. I don't mind the move at all. Honestly, we've been calling for it for a while. I'm really glad he's gone, and I don't expect the Panthers to be, jump to above a 500 team this year, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
So, all right. Well, a few things obviously on this. Start off first. You're right. And then you mentioned improvement. It was never improvement. It was the same mediocre bullcrap we saw throughout every year in Charlotte sports history. We just see same mediocre, whatever. Not besides that. The one thing last year we all complained, oh, the offense sucks. The offense can't do anything. Like, we got to get rid of Joe Brady. Joe Brady leaves. Ever since Joe Brady left, we've been even worse on offense.
Worse.
It wasn't even Joe Brady. We would take Joe Brady in at this point.
We're worse now with McCaffrey back than we were without him.
Exactly.
And that hurts.
And obviously, and you mentioned it too. Obviously, Baker hasn't been good. Everyone's saying Baker needs to have his jersey retired because he got Matt Rhule out of town. Phil Snow also has left the Carolina Panthers. Steve Wilkes is now the interim head coach. He was with the team forever. Charlotte native. Right move? And I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm putting the Panthers are going to be like a 2-touchdown underdog when all things are said and done on Sunday against the Rams. Yeah. I love the Panthers coming in there with Matt Rhule gone. Everybody's going to be fired up.
Yeah. I agree. And what if Baker comes back whenever he's back from his ankle sprain and just starts ripping the ball, like playing like
sophomore or second year Baker? And the thing with Matt Rhule too, he seems like a nice guy, all that. And people are like, oh, you should never, be happy when someone loses their job. This is so much different. This is so different.
Oh,
he's getting a $40 million buyout. $40 million buyout.
We're allowed to be happy for somebody losing their job when they're literally getting paid, I think, $42 million to not coach an NFL team.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. And also, he's going to just get whoever it is, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Arizona State, they're going to pay his buyout. So I don't feel bad for Matt Rhule at all. The rumors were out there all the time that he was flirting with college teams. Like when John Gruden at ESPN, he was always flirting with college teams to get more money. Obviously, Matt Rhule wasn't doing it to get more money, but he was always going to go to play. It was inevitable. It was even happening during this offseason. The issue is when people like an unserious owner like David Tepper come in and say, oh, we're going to bring Matt Rhule in for another year. We all knew this was happening. We all knew Matt Rhule was not going to make it through this year. It was bound to happen. And why not just fire him in the offseason? We wasted an entire season just because of this. And now the question is, okay, do the Panthers go into full rebuild? What do you do now? And the other kind of issue is you're in this weird spot where you're too good to be the worst team in the NFL, but you're not good enough to be anywhere near the playoffs. You're in purgatory, NFL purgatory.
You're in the Hornets range.
Yeah, the Hornets range, exactly. And the best thing for the Panthers right now is if they go 1-16, that's the best thing that can happen to this franchise. The best thing that can happen. If you can offload some big contracts, obviously you don't want to see someone like McCaffrey go, but if we get a good deal, he needs to leave. And McCaffrey needs to leave.
Because inevitably he's going to decline.
He's going to decline, and we need our money elsewhere. Our money needs to be put in the offensive line, our defensive backs, our linebackers, and most importantly, our quarterback. And if we can go 3-14, 4-13, get a top 3 pick, then that will change everything. My concern is I think we might end up being a little too good where we win like 5-6 games. We end up at like the 5 seed kind of. Hopefully with how bad our quarterback play is going to be for the rest of this year, I doubt we win a game. And I'm hoping guys, are injured. I hope Brian Burns sits out some games. I hope Chin's out for the rest of the year. I don't want to see Derek Brown get hurt. I just don't want to see any injuries, any stupid stuff. Just get out of this season healthy and lose a bunch of games, trade some pieces we don't need. We got to get, Robbie Anderson's a whatever wide receiver, but we got to offload some guys. And the matter of the fact is, the other part of this Panthers team that's frustrating for all these fans is we are so close yet so far. We are a good head coach and a good quarterback away from being a playoff team. And that sounds so close. It's a lot easier said than done, obviously. But once you just get that quarterback, let's say Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, one of those dudes comes in, this team is changed forever. And like I've mentioned before, we're constantly just putting Flex Seal on the quarterback position and the offensive coordinator position. And eventually you got to clean house. But people are saying, oh, we need to go into full rebuild, trade all our pieces, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to do that. We just need a good quarterback and a real head coach that can coach NFL football. We can't have a college coach. We can't have a first-year whatever NFL head coach. And that gets us into our other part of the show where the next head coach of the Panthers, I have 2 names, and I think these are the only 2 names you go after, and that's DeMeco Ryans, defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, and one that's not going to happen, but we all hope it happens, is Sean Payton.
I don't think that'll ever happen, but I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on the coaching decision
Tepper's willing to throw money around. So I'll just say
he is. But he is, because this is what I was going to bring up a minute ago. What a boneheaded decision to extend Matt Rhule all those years, saying you believe in him, coming out publicly and supporting him before this year, knowing, like you said, goodwill, he wasn't going to make it through this year. And another thing is, what a horrible, horrible situation to be a fan right now, because we're 5 games into the NFL season. All the hype for the NFL season coming back. Everybody's excited. 5 games in, and we're already talking about, let's just get out of the season, rest some guys, nobody get hurt, bench some guys. That's so sad.
What was also sad is when you watch yesterday, it was a Niners home game. It was red. The only blue that was in the stadium were empty seats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was sad, too. And then David Tepper in his press conference today, I did see a couple little clips, said something about how there was like 60,000 asses in seats. Well, 40,000 of those, if there was 60,000, then 40 or 45,000 of those were red. So, it is what it is. It's just a horrible situation to be in. And before we get into like the next coaching candidates, I kind of got hit a little hard today because I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and she said, she was like, why don't you guys just like pick a fun team to watch, like a good team to watch, and that'll make you happier? And I was like, you know, that doesn't sound half bad. And she was like, why do you have to be locked down to the team that was closest to where you're from or whatever? She's like, doesn't make any sense. I was like, we've been locked into this eternal mediocrity for long enough now. There's no escape. We can't go like the Chiefs. We can't go pick up on the Bills. We're stuck to Carolina. And so it just got me thinking of how, I don't know, like we're in a horrible spot 5 games in, already looking forward to next year, saying bench guys, tank, trade players. Just sucks.
But I'm okay with it. I'm willing to have a 1 or 2 really, really bad seasons instead of going into a season with false hope and somewhat expectations to win 8, 9, 10 games.
Yeah.
Like, and have that expectation to just be crushed again by awful coaching.
Awful coaching. Yeah. I would love if Sean Payton came to Carolina. I do think he'll make a return to the league. It's hard for me to see him on the Panther sideline.
I would have said Dallas, but I don't think Dallas. I think Mike McCarthy's there for a while.
Cooper Rush might have saved Mike McCarthy.
And so, I don't know. Maybe we see Sean Payton if he. And then it also comes down to whether you like Bryce Young a lot, whether you think he can be durable enough, whether you like C.J. Stroud. But we got to go quarterback in the draft. We have to hit on the quarterback. Now's the time. And if the Panthers lose out for the rest of the season, I'm very happy. But
it sucks. It sucks Matt Corral got hurt, because if Baker went out like this and Darnold's already out, I feel like Matt Corral would have got the starts over PJ Walker. Well, with Matt Rhule gone, he would have. So I would love to see a little bit of what he can do, because we did go decently early in the draft to get him. But I agree with you. If we get a top 5 pick, if the Panthers get a top 5 pick, you have to go quarterback.
Yeah, and that's what I was going back to, is when I'm saying we might be too good. Let's say if Steve Wilkes comes in and dudes are believing and we're winning football games again, and we end up going 6-11 for no reason.
Yeah, it'll be. I could.
Because the defense is good enough. The defense is good enough. If the offense can put up 20 points, they can win 5-6 games.
I don't think PJ Walker will put up more than 10 points this weekend.
We'll find out. Who knows? Maybe it's Jacob Easton time. Who knows?
I don't know what's going on, honestly. It's
going to be a disaster.
It's going to be a dumpster fire.
And that's what I want. I would rather have a dumpster fire than just crap, just mediocre crap.
That's fair. Okay, you want to get into this a little bit? I got my McCaffrey jersey on. Already the rumors are swirling. McCaffrey to the Bills. DJ Moore's getting called about. All this stuff. Who leaves and who stays? What do you think?
I honestly don't know who leaves. I would be surprised if DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey were on the Panthers roster starting next season.
I agree.
Both of them. I think one of them does leave.
I think one of them, I don't know if it'll be mid-season or not. I think if the Panthers lose a couple more games, then they might be like, okay, let's see what we can get for these guys. I don't think they both make it to next season. I think if they make it through this year, one or both is gone in the offseason. I agree.
I mean, I could easily see a team like Kansas City trading a late first rounder for DJ Moore, something like that. Even though I love DJ Moore, I don't think we should trade him.
He's so underutilized. It just sucks that the Carolina Panthers don't have a legitimate quarterback that can throw the ball down the field to him, because he is a legitimate talent.
And that's what I was going back to. My point is, all these, national NFL guys are saying, all right, the rebuild starts for Carolina now. I don't think there needs to be a full rebuild. We don't need to completely clean house. We needed to clean house in the departments that were garbage, like quarterback, like head coach, like offensive coordinator with Ben McAdoo. It seemed like the players, everyone's, it's all coming out now, and it came out a couple weeks ago through like some Reddit threads and stuff, that the players hated Phil Snow and they're thrilled to see him gone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It could be a positive if they start believing in Steve Wilkes and they're like, okay, I can't believe David Tepper actually listened to the players. Phil Snow was running a college style defense. The players hated it, so he listened to him, and now he's gone. Maybe the mindset change is going to be just enough to make them competitive this year. I'm not entirely sure. I think we'll know within the first 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, and I think we'll know. I think we'll know after. Who do we play after the Rams? Is it the Bucks?
Oh, it's a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. I think it's
it's a disaster.
Isn't it Rams, Bucks, Bengals?
It's something like that. It's a nightmare. But I mean, look, if we lose all those games, I'm happy. I want the number 1 pick, number 2 pick. I want a quarterback. And look, I think Will Anderson is the best player coming out of the draft. I really do.
It's not what the
But you
Panthers
have to
need.
go quarterback. You have to go quarterback. And I think I'm just terrified we draft Will Levis, who's awful.
That
He's
would be
literally Sam Darnold 2.0.
Will Greer flashbacks.
Somebody is going to waste a top 10 pick on Will Levis, and he's not good enough for the NFL. I can guarantee that. And then last thing I have, and because just quick bonus little episode for you.
Yeah.
Dennis Cox, he's 99 The Fan in Raleigh, I think. Producers, host over there. He does the fake Matt Rhule videos.
Dude,
shout out that guys. What a time. This sucks. He finally got the Matt Rhule impression down like 3 weeks ago. And now, it's over now. Like,
those videos are hilarious.
If you haven't seen him, go follow him at the Fan Rookie, Dennis Cox. They're so good. They're so funny. They're so spot on. But yeah, Matt Rhule no longer there. We don't have to see those stupid press conferences anymore by him.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel now, honestly. Like there's hope because the fan base, honestly, it's a little bit reminiscent, maybe not as bad, of the Hornets and all the Hornets fans wanting Borrego gone. Wish they ended up getting Steve Clifford.
I think this was way worse.
I think it was worse. I wouldn't say way worse. Maybe because I guess there's more fans of the Panthers than the Hornets, so it was amplified. But like percentage of the fan base wise, there was a lot of people wanting Borrego gone.
True.
But I will say this is on a greater scale. I'm just worried. Because the Hornets, after Borrego left, they went and got Steve Clifford, which is kind of like. So
you're saying that the Commanders are going to fire Ron Rivera and we pick him up?
I would be thrilled if Riverboat Ron came back. I'm not going to lie.
So we're putting out the rumor here on the podcast. The Panthers are inquiring about possibly picking up Ron Rivera after his inevitable firing from the Washington Commanders. So Ron Rivera may be the next coach of the Carolina Panthers.
I'll get a Photoshop ready. I think I can Photoshop him in some Panthers gear probably real quick if I need to.
That's so good. That's exactly what's going to happen. The state of Charlotte sports is a nightmare.
But there's hope. There's a little bit of hope now. That David Tepper listened for all the wrong he's done. He listened a little bit. They're attempting to right the ship. They're not doing that Jay-Z 7-year plan BS anymore. Like they're actually going to try to move forward. So I'm interested to see how the rest of the year goes. I'm nervously optimistic. I'll put it that way.
All right. Before we close here, you have to say one nice thing about Matt Rhule.
Okay. I like the way he looked in the NFL head coach's picture. I think he looked very dapper.
You can't be sarcastic.
Do you have one?
No. I was going to say.
What were you going to say? Yeah, that's what I thought. You can't even think of one. You're trying to call me out. I was trying to fake it a little bit.
Oh man.
You know what?
He
always showed. I got one.
What were you gonna say?
He always showed a positive attitude in the press conferences, even if it was complete BS and you could see right through it. He stayed positive. I'll give it to him. Don't know how.
There we go. We got that.
There's my positive.
I'll say the positive is I guess he didn't lose the locker room. He kept the locker room together longer than I thought.
Me too. I thought after last year was over.
He did weight loss. He lost a lot of weight. He looked good.
He did. He does look good. And you know what? And I'll say something else nice. He'll be a good college coach again. Wherever he decides to go, he will be a good college coach again.
That's the thing. He's going to be fine when he goes to Nebraska. They're going to pay his buyout, going to give him the $40 million. And he's going to be a great coach in the Big Ten or at Arizona State in the Pac-12 or Wisconsin. He'll be fine.
There's just a big jump from college to the NFL. It's a completely different game, and some people just aren't meant for it. A lot of people aren't, and Matt Rhule just was one of those guys. And I don't fault the Panthers for experimenting with it. I think they stayed on it too long. They gave him too long of a leash. There was a lot of extenuating circumstances like injuries, whatever you want to say, but they gave him too long of a leash. But I'm not mad that they experimented with it. But now, hopefully, they don't go in that direction again.
Yeah, we need to. I would either one of those two, Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryans, I would be thrilled with as the next Panthers head coach. And I don't want to go into a full rebuild. I just want a quarterback and a head coach. That's all we're asking.
Just need a little retool.
And then just add pieces here and there on defense and wide receivers and a tight end that can catch the ball for crying out loud. That doesn't have
tight end that's more than a blocker. Yeah.
that doesn't have oven mitts for hands. And that's the thing, quarterback, head coach. I know you can say that about every team in the NFL, but once you get those two things, you're off and running. The defense is there for the Panthers. The weapons are there for the Panthers. The offensive line is coming together for the Panthers.
Yep. Never thought we'd say that.
Yeah, I know. But the Matt Rhule era comes to an end. No more Matt Rhule rants. It's over.
It's over. I know. Usually there's one on like every other show sometimes.
Yeah, you just couldn't help it. Now I go. Yesterday I felt this way too. Yesterday watching the game, I'm like, I kind of hope we lose. Lose. Who cares?
Sometimes I'd usually get upset if like the Panthers look like crap, but yesterday I was just kind of in a weird, like mild mood, like accepting. I was like, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. It's the 5 stages of grief.
That's a weird feeling. It's like acceptance. You're like, man, this team is running all over us and there's nothing we can do about it.
And we're going to see that by end of December for the Hornets. We're going to except we're in the Wembanyama mistakes.
When they're sitting at 12-27, we're going to be like, man, that is tough.
Oh, man. Well, all right. That'll do it. Quick little bonus episode for a little 20-minute Matt Rhule pod. We had to do it. People were hitting us up. And then we have NBA win totals coming out this week, maybe Monday next week. And we always have our football show. Me, you, Dylan, Grant. We go for the three-peat. The last dance. Back to back.
I took
that. It's not the last dance. It's not the last dance. We're gonna turn this into the Bill Russell Celtics and win 10 of them.
Oh yeah. If we go three-peat, there's no telling where we go.
If we go for the three-peat, their statues may be built for us.
Some are saying that it's free money. Not me, of course, but some.
The pressure's on this week because I've actually had to set aside time where I'm like, oh crap, I need to like really dive into my pick. Usually I see one I like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna add that to the parlay. But this week it's like, all right, I'm gonna dive in, make sure I get my pick because I don't want to be the one that screwed up the pick. I messed up the college football parlay big time.
Yeah. But when you do a bunch of research and overthink like that, I feel like sometimes just picking on the fly is better. I don't know.
Exactly. It's all stupid anyways. All right. Well, stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, I know we've had a lot of new viewers lately. Thank you for listening. Welcome. We are doing NBA. We're going to be big into basketball all season, coming to the basketball season. We're even going to have a World Cup pod coming up. World Cup pod.
Big time for sports. Big time for the cast.
November is going to be bananas. There's going to be some weeks. There's going to be some 3-pod weeks we're going to have to do. And that's okay. I love it. All right. That'll do it. Matt Rhule gone from the Carolina Panthers. Rest in peace. Pour one out for Matt Rhule.
Moving
forward. It's over. We need to sell t-shirts saying we survived the Matt Rhule era.
Oh, yeah. That would be great in 5 years. We're going to look back and be like, or 20 years even, we're going to look back and be like, remember Matt Rhule?
Because I felt this was worse than the Jimmy Clausen era.
I agree. I have to.
It didn't last as long.
Yeah. Those short leash.
Or like Jimmy Clausen didn't last as long as this one. This was a 4-year stretch of just misery.
Yeah, and it's different when it's just one, like, the quarterback's bad, whatever. The coach is like over the whole team because you're like, oh my God, to listen to this guy in the pressers. I don't want to get into it again.
Last thing is we finally have hope.
Yeah,
I say it all the time. As a sports team, as a sports fan, especially of one of small market teams, all we ask for is hope.
Yep.
That's all we can hang our hat on hope. We're never going to win championships. We know that in the heart of our hearts.
The Panthers had that one year, the one Super Bowl year. And I don't even think they'll never get back there. And I don't think the Hornets will even get close. So
Hornets will never get close in 20 years, but all right, that's it. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube, check out cartercast.com, follow us on Twitter. And thanks for listening. And Matt Rhule, goodbye.
Nah.